school. As government, civil servant had only been granted 1.5% salary increment in the last 3 years, but expected to pay for omalume who are transporting their kids to school. Bazoyithatha imali yokukhokhela omalume. Honorable MEC, look at this matter seriously. Children are traveling long distance to school on foot. Senaqeda nalolu hlelo lwethu lwamabhayisikili okushova kalula. Honorable Chairperson, all our roads are in disaster state. All of us must darken and dive the potholes. Ungathi imoto zisho kumapoto emshadweni. Do you have any tangible plan to tackle these potholes? Motorists are sick and tired of these potholes. Do something. There must be no yellow fleet parking in the camp these days. Some potholes have been there for years. Even the department officials that can dive. Some are even next to the department coast centers. My suggestion is that public must be informed and swear to go to claim for damaged wheels. Process of claiming must ease. Honorable Chairperson, we are looking at the bridges. Department, please attend to the bridges speedily. I saw the story of Mpola River in Marel Hill last night. My heart is sore. Ingane ziwela ngogodo ukuya esikoleni. Azibuza ukuthi uma iphoseke emanzini iwalo liyagodo kuzokwenzakalani. Please, department, employ the EPWP's workers to assist in such places. EFF supports the budget of the department. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Member. From the NFP, we'll have Honourable CM Shinga for 3 minutes.
Ngibingelele sihlalo amalunga endle hloniphekile nabo bonke ekungenzeka kuba balibukele lolu hlelo. As we move to fast-track economic recovery in the province, the NFP is pleased to see the significant amount of funds injected on infrastructural development projects over the MTEF. Infrastructure is key to the economic growth. These projects will create a vast number of job opportunities upon construction and completion. The communities will benefit greatly in their respective locations. We call on the Provincial Treasury and the Department of Transport to ensure that the budget for these projects is spent within the allocation and monitor the progress. Big ups to Operation Siyazenzela. It is about time. We have learned that in some areas, MEC, this program has been received with resistance. We call upon your department to ensure that the state employees are safe. This can be done by involving relevant stakeholders like Izinduna, ward councillors, and others when they will be in the area. We are pleased to see the progress and the continuation of the government to fund the EPWP integrated grant and welcome the department's share of 68.3 million of the budget through the EPWP integrated grant. This grant is a major role player in the employment of young people. Honorable MEC, open up the bus market to black entrepreneurs, especially women. Siyacela ukuthi kuthanjiswe imigoqo ekhona ukuze bakwazi nabesifazane abamnyama ukubamba iqhaza. Eminye yaleyo mgoqo ileyo estates ukuthi kulindeleke abazongena mhlambe abe nedepo ukwenza isilinganiso. Siyazi ukuthi obani who are better equipped ukuthi babe nalezo zinto futhi be-equipe kudala. So sithi makuvuleke nabesifazane bakwazi ukubamba iqhaza. We also acknowledge that the department will create 200 job opportunities through the pedestrian crossing patrol project. However, can the department take the initiative to see through that the municipalities employ people after utilizing them for more than 3 months to avoid the court battles? MEC, siyabonga kakhulu.
Thank you so much, Honorable Shinga. Our next speaker will be from the ANC, Honorable Ndombela, for 13 minutes.
Honorable Chairperson, members of the Executive Council present, izakhamuzi zelikamthaniye ezibukayo lenkulumo mpikiswano asibingelele. I think, Chair, it would be proper that when we debate as honorable members, we behave as honorable members. And we do not become economical with the truth. I'm saying this because when Honorable Hussein was speaking at home, connecting, on a number of instances, she was very much economical with the truth. This province has compiled a list of damage to infrastructure in the province, and it was presented to the general public. In fact, kuze kwaba ijoke kuthiwa senza isibalo esiphambanayo kuthiwa sikhuluma ngamabhiliyoni noma kuthiwa ama-trillion, kwadingakala umnyango kaNdunankulu uyi-correct lowo number leyo, because those figures were presented to the general public. But what are the estimate of the damage in the province, breakdown according to different level of infrastructure need and in different department. So if Honorable Hussein for whatever reason had an amnesia on that particular day, it can't be our problem or it is advantage to as an honorable members of this house. Having the province declared as a national disaster is what guides us now moving forward as to what national government will bring on board. In fact, we might be convened again as this house to reprioritize the budget, as in all probabilities, national government might not have enough resources to deal with this flood disaster, and it was not man-made, and it could not be planned for, and how you could react to it thereafter. Bekumele ubhekane naso ngesikhathi esifike ngaso nokuthi umonakalo ungakanani and yikuphi okunokwenza nokwenzakala ngaleso sikhathi ubhekane naso. Let me join other members, Honorable Chair of this August House, in participating in this debate. We engage on this package vote under no normal circumstances. Our province having been affected by July unrest and thereafter the natural disaster we had not planned for. That it is hitting our province again for the second time in a short space of time, make it worse. It hit us when we were trying to regroup and focus after lockdown of the country caused by the coronavirus pandemic, which almost put everything in a standstill for about 2 years. Stats SA Quality Labor Force Survey, Q4 2021, confirmed official unemployment rate at 35.3%. The number of unemployed persons increased by 278,000 to 7.9 million in the fourth quarter of 2021. These changes in the labor market resulted in the official unemployment rate increasing by 0.4 percentage point from 34.9% in the third quarter of 2021 to 35.3% in the fourth quarter of 2021. The highest since the start of Quality Labor Force Survey since 2008. The report of the experts panel into the July civil unrest also attested to this ticking time bomb of hunger and highest unemployment rate in the country. This is the context, honorable members, which must be in our minds when we debate in this budget vote. That we might have reached the end, the point of no return, if we fail on the mandate bestowed on us by the electorate. The core functions of the department, amongst others, are to construct, maintain and repair the provincial road network. The department's mandate is to construct and maintain a balanced road network that meets the mobility need of the citizens of KwaZulu-Natal and supports the national and provincial growth development plans and strategies. This is what must inform and guide the department budget's vote in the main. The recent floods have exacerbated the challenges we face in the road infrastructure maintenance and building in the province. Many of our roads and bridges have been destroyed, with some needing major revamp to continue and carry out the responsibility of transporting our citizens and goods in the province. Failure of consistent road maintenance have exposed the province big time, as most were affected. I would mention with particular reference few of those roads. One is Milky Way, Ishongweni Road. This road connects people from areas around St. Gwendolyn's, Clarot, Takwandengezi, Tasenuk, Chelimnyama, right up to Enchongweni. It has never been properly maintained for the past 20, if not 30 years. As a consequence, it has caused accident and serious damage to vehicles, to people using it on the daily basis with no alternative roads. It has become worse after the recent storms. When you approach Maran Ridge, there is only one lane now operational for a population of not less than 20 to 30,000 people. In the middle of the road. Bonke babehamba manje basabi main road. Sekumele bajike bangene ngaphakathi elokishini baphumele ngale. And all vehicles, whether ayayitshela emnyama ayaphi, akakwazi ukugula because itshela emnyama ibridge liwile. So fana hambe wonke ngalomgwaqo oyiwodwa o one main lane obhekene nakhona. The question becomes, how long will it take the department to consider this road for proper refurbishment and maintenance? Another road we observed was M37 from Galeria Mall to Adams Mission. It is worse than the road of Mogadishu Chair, which have been bombed by insurgents and terrorists. It is a road we expect our people to use daily as they attempt to make a living to and from Emakaya to towns and cities. And it's unfortunate because it happened we lost one of the comrade Mfundo Mkwen. Ukuya kuyovela ekhala kuba namashoni ukuthi lo mgwaqo makuthiwa umgwaqo weprovince uchaza uthini ukuthi labantu abahamba ngawo kuona on a daily basis. Uma wena uzohamba kuona ngale insuku ezimbili ezintathu uyovela ngoba kunalesi sifo, kubona okuyinto kumele kube yinormality yokuphila noma bahambe ngayo imihla namalanga ukuthi isho ukuthini kuthina njengabantu abamnyama. Is it because these roads and others driving towards Ngonyameni are used mainly by Black African people that we do not see the need to consistently maintain them to be in good conditions? We can't be having apartheid mentality when it comes to road maintenance 28 years post-democracy. Le mgwaqo engikhuluma ngayo embalwa esezindaweni zabantu abamnyama umnyango usuziyekelele iminyaka ungayinakekeli, ungayilungisi. Kuba buhlungu ke bahlonishwa uma uhulumeni wabantu abamnyama uzobonakala uyekelela abantu abamnyama ngoba sebekwakuthwayela ukuhlupheka, baqhubeke nokuhlala bahambe emgwaqweni efana nalena ongeke uyibone koMhlanga nakoManzi Mtoti nakoChasworth. The transport infrastructure program contains the bulk of the department budget, about 70%. In the recent past years, the department had challenges with spending allocated budget. But what has been worse is the skewed pattern of the beneficiaries for these projects, which in the main are big and well-established entities, mainly controlled by white and Indian nationalities of descent. We speak revolutionary talk of radical economic transformation, but when it comes to implementation, it is the opposite. The biggest chunk still goes to the previous advantage than the previous disadvantage in our communities. the core constituent, which is supposed to be the beneficiary of this program, still gets crumbs and leftovers. This must change drastically if we are serious about changing the plight of our people for the better, and if serious ekutheni eminyakeni emibili ezayo abantu basenokubona benethemba kulo uhulumeni ohola umbutho wesizwe. We welcome the program focusing on the building of bridges, as most have been affected by the recent storms. Hopefully by now the department do have a proper and detailed inventory of the bridges which need to be built and restored. Sithembe ukuthi Operation Kushunquthuli and the African Renaissance Road Upgrading Program focus on road infrastructure development in rural areas uzoliqeda ngempela uthuli olushunqela abantu abakithi mihla namalanga uma beya edolobheni noma izingane ziya esikoleni. The provincial roads maintenance grant significantly increased from 789.8 million to 607.2 million and 433 million over the MTF period. This allocation brings the grant total in 2022-2023 to 2.7 billion for maintenance of the road infrastructure. The grant includes additional allocation of 419 million and 293.5 million in the first 2 years of the MTF relating to storm and flood damages in 2019 and 2020. The question MEC ukuthi sizoba nayo any capacity yokuyisebenzisa le mali sili allocate liwe. Ngeke nisiphinde umshopho osenzakalile futhi ukuthi kuthi nale mali sesinikiwe ukubhekana nalezi ngqina bayifana nalezi igcina ithathwa ngoba thina siyahluleka ukuyisebenzisa ngesikhathi esifanelekileyo. There is a lack of capacity and foresight in most local municipalities in maintenance of road and transport infrastructure. We firmly believe that the department can do more to assist in building capacity and ensuring effective coordination through the district development model, which must help in closing the gaps where they may arise. We are saying this because kwindawo eziningi esihambelayo siyikomiti ubuthola ukuthi inkinga ezinye eziningi zemgwaqo ekhona omasipala banokungaqondi ukuthi yini okumele bayenzile ukuyimaintaina eminye imigwaqo engaphansi kwabo banokungaqondi indlela okumele benze ngayo okugcina kusho ukuthi uzomele sibe nendlela ukuthi umnyango ulekelela kanjani ekutheni ezinhlelweni ezifana nalezi bayakwazi ukulekelela ngecapacity ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi umsebenzi okumele bawenze at their own level complement what is being done at the provincial government level. Boss masingakwenzile lokho siyogcina njalo sikhuluma inkinga mihla namalanga then sibe nezixazululo einselelweni esibhekene nazo. Ezinye izibalo ezikhula ngamandla ezombango embonini yamatekisi. Uma ungangeneleli ngokusheshsha kusanesikhathi umnyango kule nkiyankiya miningi imphefumulo ezolahleka kungenacala alipheli iviki noma inyanga engekho somatekisi olimalile noma washona ngesikhali kuyangamthaniya. Any functioning department will be determined by the cost of its employees in terms of how they conduct and behave themselves in servicing the general public. The video circulating in Rosberg with a lot of driver's license cut all over the floor and the utterances of that employee in that video is not depicting a good picture of the department. Soon the department deal with those few rotten apples, the better will be its image in the eyes of the public. Njengombutho wesizwe siyasekela lesebelo semali siyabonga sihlalo.
Thank you so much, Honorable Dombela. From the Minority Front, we'll have Honorable S. Thakur Rajbansi for 3 minutes. Honorable Thakur Rajbansi, connected, over to you. I'm sorry, honorable member, our time is up. The time is up. Thank you, honorable member. Next will be for 3 minutes, Honorable M.E. Pagati from ATM. For 3 minutes. Okay.
Asibonge sihlalo honorable MEC ATM yasiseka isabelo sezimali sinikwe umnyango wakho futhi siyabonga ukuthi imali eningi iya ekwakheni kwemigwaqo namabhloko nasekulungiseni imigwaqo esiyonakele kakhulukazi ey'ndaweni zasemakhaya. Siyabonga ukuthi nakhona izokwakhiwa umgaqo leyo nakele ilungiswe. MEC ukungabi kuhle kwemigaqo kwenza ukuthi umnotho wabakithi ube phansi. Siyethemba-ke ukuthi ukulungisa kwemigaqo kuyokwenza ukuthi umnotho wakwethu uphakame. Kodwa MEC asiphinde siveze ukuthi asithokozile ngendlela ukuthi umnyango wakho awukhamuki nezikhondakhonda noma izikhondakhonda zezikontraki aziphumi emnyangweni wakho. Izikhondakhonda ezisebenza emnyangweni wakho yilezo zalabo baqama ngezandla. Sicela-ke MEC ukuthi kule budget abantu bakithi noma iy'nkontilaki zabantu bakithi ezimnyama zihlomule. ATM iyayisapotha ibhizinisi isabelo sezimali. Ngiyabonga.
Sibonga kakhulu, Honorable Pagati. Next on the list will be from the ACDP for 3 minutes, Honorable S.E. Manqele.
Sihlalo makubingelele no MEC na yonke i-protocol. Thina njenge-ACDP sihlalo siyayemukela kakhulu le budget. Noma uyibona ukuthi ayanele ngokubuka imisebenzi yomnyango. Sekushayela ihlombe kakhulu sinconcoza udaba lwamakhono nokusebenza okuvula umnyango ngaphakathi. Isisho sizulu sithi sibekelwa ngaphandle. Lokhu ukutshala khona wena ikhona futhi ukuvuna. I-investment yethu le njenge-province kulabantwana bonke abahlomulile. Congratulations to Lihle Sibeko and other graduates who were there. Udaba lwamabhasi athutha abantwana ikakhulukazi lezo ndawo eziqhelile zakithi emakhaya nasemaplazini. Lolu daba silishayela ihlombe futhi kakhulu. Nalelo-ke lombebeshwana laba abawu-2,400 sengathi benganda nabo. Udaba lokulungiswa kwemigwaqo le mkhulu nenza konke lokhu kade sikubuka nje kokulungiswa kwemigwaqo kuyasi-impressa nakho futhi kakhulu. Siyacela sengathi kunganda nama-bridge konke kulungiswe nje kube kuhle sikwazi ukuphila. Nokho-ke siyacela minister kule migwaqo yasemakhaya kuthiwa ama-community access roads ibukeleka phansi kakhulu. Siyazi ukuthi umnyango uphethe umthwalo omkhulu kakhulu. Kukhona neminye imigwaqo eminingi ekade yagcina ukumaintainwa ongahambe ngempela ongangeneki kuyo. Kodwa eminye ubone ngqongqoshe ukuthi uma ngahamba igrader nje ishone le iphinde ibuye kungasala sekuthiwa intuthuko kube kuhle endaweni kuthiwa intuthuko ifikile. Ngakho-ke angazi minister udaba lwama-trucks nalo kufanele kube khona ukucatshwa ngawo ngama-trucks. Ngale ukuthi ayimbangela yokubulala umgwaqo nengozi ayikho ingozi ekhona lingekho i-truck. Mhlawumbe kufanele kube khona okucatshwa ngayo minister ukuthi yini engenziwa ngama-trucks mthetho omunye ongagcini wenziwe. Ngiyazi involve no-national kodwa i-province ingaba initiator kulolu daba sibuke ukuthi silwenze njani ngalamazwi nje amafishane iBhayibheli lithi okunconywa umfundisi emhlabeni kunconyiwe nasezulwini.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Next will be the Honorable Member from DA. For 4 minutes, Honorable S. Hussein. Honorable Hussein? Okay.
From a 70 billion rand investment, that's something drastic to happen up this and wasteful expenditure, which funds management to guarantee not fund it as individual expenditure. Economic progress from 7 billion rand years ago, 25 billion rand presents half of the irregular expenditure of the entire provincial department. On that score alone, this is the worst performing department in the day. This is the NC's idea of progress. Uncle and Tabela are concluded randomly with this. With a record of 25 billion in expenditure, they are now requesting 1.5 billion rand loan. They March 2021. On this, the department has the nation because we don't have proof of any district management that show value for money. The engineer also confirmed that stating that property losses results in failure and friction and waste of expenditure were not covered from the kind of people. We are people sitting on the agency who start holding responsible officials, not personal level, always fine. They cannot get out, get away with money. If there's ever a crime for the lack of consequent management, the department will be in first place. And while all of this is happening, the communities continue to suffer from poor service delivery. Madam Chair, while this department has increased in irregular expenditure, with some of the same people adding no value to the department, it makes sense now why the department is not filling the vacant post. 3,603 vacant posts remains unfilled. This explains why there is constant underspending and lack of capacity in this department. This high vacancy rate is a direct impact on our ability to implement critical projects. And this is why consultants are brought in to do the job of a staff member. The lack of capacity has a domino effect on the performance of the rest of the department. The strategy is clear to keep the circle small so that everyone can get a bigger piece of the pie, while the communities continue to cry for jobs, decent roads, bridges, and effective law enforcement. Madam Speaker, let's move on to learner transport. Just the title learner transport would mean that it addresses every learner needing transport in KZN. The department has spent over 400 million rand on providing transport to 397 schools. This is roughly R1 million per school per year. We are paying hundreds of millions of rands every year to private companies for learner transport. Why are we not using that money to purchase a bus for these schools and fund the schools for the running costs? We are just throwing away millions of rands every year and have little to show for it. Go and look at some of the schools in the wealthier communities. They all have their own buses for their learners. This is how you address the imbalances in our education system, by investing in poorer schools to bring them on par to the higher income communities so that all our children can have a sense of pride. Instead, we are keeping our communities poorer, and we know the reason why. This funding approach is not sustainable, and on the long term, we will continue to throw money into a bottomless pit. This is why the department has no funds to provide learner transport to thousands of other poorer communities. The department can barely provide transport to schools that they currently have. In fact, you would remember that the department was actually taken to court and was forced by the court to add a school on the list. Madam Speaker, the transport is clearly overwhelmed, and I must admit that she does have plans to initiate a store.
Your time is up, Honorable Member. My apologies. Can I call the next speaker? That will be from Honorable S. Motley for 7 minutes from the IFP.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The IFP demands that action must be taken against SIU on Jersey barriers. The IFP demands that action must be taken against those involved in the 85 million New Jersey barrier wall project, which is being implemented to curb cross-border crime between South Africa and Mozambique, which was awarded to a joint venture between ISF Construction and Shula Construction in August 2018. We challenge the Honorable MEC to provide clarity on what progress has been made on this matter. Vacant posts for far too long, critical posts have been left vacant, hampering the effective functioning of the department. The department is currently sitting with huge vacant posts in many sections. This process of filling these vacant posts must be expedited. These posts should be immediately filled with competent people, as with all other posts. The IFP strongly opposes cadre deployment and nepotism. MEC, whilst we are on this, you have people that are sitting in your employ in the backbench. We need to know about the RTI Commission of 2013 and if it has been implemented. We urge the Honorable MEC to ensure that this process is expedited. Road infrastructure, we welcome the increase in the provincial road maintenance grant. The PRMG sees an increase of 789,799 million, 607,161 million, and 433,049 million over the 22-23 MTEF. But we are concerned about the failure by the department to spend this grant. In 2019-20, the department underspent on transport infrastructure by 1.64 billion, and again in the previous year, the department underspent the budget of 265.94 million on transport infrastructure due to delays in infrastructure projects, yet we have witnessed many violent protests around the province by communities demanding road infrastructure. While we commend the department on undertaking many road upgrades, we are concerned that nothing has been said about Road 612 from Park Reni to High Flats, which is full of potholes. Further, nothing has been said about the incomplete Ingubuvo Bridge in Msinga and Ungeni Bridge worth 38 million in P713 in Ndwetwe. The IFP would like to know from the Honorable MEC on when these bridges will be completed. We further appreciate that the MEC announced last month that they will do away with low-lying bridges which have proven to be a danger to communities. Expanded Public Works Program, EPWP, Mbali Fraser. We welcome the allocation of 68.283 for EPWP integrated grant for provinces, but considering that there is a high rate of unemployment in the country, the IFP is concerned about the decrease in numbers of young people to be employed under the Vukubambe routine road maintenance program, where in this financial year, only 2,917 young people will be employed compared to 5,600 young people that were employed in various district municipalities throughout the province in 2021-2022 financial year. We are against the decrease of job creation under EPWP. It is concerning that the department under Transport Infrastructure Program is not planning to construct even a single public transport facility. The IFP believes in women empowerment and the empowerment of SMMEs, but is concerning that businesses to be trained has also been reduced, which goes against women empowerment and SMME development. Railway transport occupies a significant role in the transport system of a country, because the development of trade, industry and commerce for a country largely depend on the development of railway. Therefore, we note that the department is planning to develop a number of railway lines in the province. IFP welcomes the decision, but it is concerned that the railway requires a large investment of capital. The cost of construction, maintenance and overhead expenses are very high as compared to other modes of transport. Moreover, the investments are specific and immobile. In case the traffic is not sufficient, the investments mean wastage of huge resources. We call upon the Honorable MEC to present a detailed plan with clear time frames and how she intends to address all challenges mentioned above and why there is such reductions. Road accidents and permits. The IFP is concerned about road carnage. The reduced targets on issues relating to law enforcement is worrying, as we are still grappling with high numbers of road accidents, as there is a dire need to ensure that traffic officers are working 24/7 on our roads. We therefore urge the Honourable MEC to fulfill the promise she made that as the department they will redouble their efforts to ensure that the proposed interventions to curb road deaths, including the implementation of R2 Act and demerit point system, are carried out. We also call for 24-hour traffic police visibility on our roads. It is sad to note that RTI officials have been demoralized due to not having uniforms and equipment to effectively execute their job. We implore the department to provide clear timeframes as to when uniforms to officials will be issued. It has been 7 years and this is unacceptable. Further, the issuing of operating licenses must be expedited and more action needed to eradicate taxi violence over routes. Corruption. We urge the Honourable MEC to ensure that corruption is eradicated in the issuing of learners and drivers' licenses. This will eradicate unnecessary road carnage. Corruption must be eradicated even from the RTI. Corrupt traffic police officers must be reported, arrested by accepting bribes. They are contributing to road accidents. COVID-19, we urge the Honourable MEC to continue encouraging people to adhere to COVID-19 regulations. The transport industry must also play its own role by ensuring that people wear masks when boarding their taxis and buses. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Modley. From the ANC for 16 minutes will be Honorable S.A. Duma.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, for affording us this opportunity. Greetings to everyone in this house, starting with Ubuholi Bemboni Opkona in our midst, Honorable Chairperson. It is pleasing to be afforded this opportunity to debate during the African month. The month of May is recognized as an African month, a time when the continent of Africa commemorates the founding of the organization of AU, which was founded on the following principles, and we name them: decolonization, boundary conflicts, defense of member state, sovereignty and territorial integrity, the struggle against apartheid, promotion of African culture, fields of economic and social development, transport and telecommunication. Honorable Chairperson, we would like also to pass our deepest condolences to all families who lost their loved ones during the devastating floods that left our province with the damaged roads and human settlement infrastructure. The floods disaster in our province has caused damage to transport infrastructure estimated to more than 5 billion in total. We are pleased that the Honorable President Ramaphosa declared KZN province to be in the state of national disaster, and this has been the effort of the Provincial Executive Council led by Honorable Premier, and in this instance it will be implemented by Honorable MEC Nkonyeni. We just wanted to start there, Honorable Chairperson. We would like to highlight some issues raised by honorable members, because honorable members are allowed to debate in a decorum, in a way in this August House everyone will accept it. But Honorable Chairperson, we take exception of someone who's supposed to be regarded as an honorable member, antagonistic so and insulting regarding members as useless, insulting us, saying that the organization is useless. Because you don't have to shout, you must raise your argument. Honorable Hussein was not advancing any tangible thing. And at this point in time, we thought that she was going to characterize her presentation with superior logic. There was nothing like that. It was a common practice. And unfortunately from her, it was very shallow. You'll be surprised, Honorable Chairperson, as to why the DA these days, they are no longer carrying the flag of Western Cape. It is not just a coincidence. It is simply because the MEC has been found guilty of sexual harassment conduct, of corruption. So it is no longer easy for them just to promulgate everything as glossy by Western Cape government. You'll wonder why they are no longer even ventilating nicely about their members. Currently, the councillor of Umsunduzi is currently on expulsion or suspended. I don't know whether it's Councillor Lakinaya. His part of parcel is suspended for sexual harassment. It means that there is a character portrait that is found in the DA. Unfortunately, the media of South Africa is not just going to ensure that they elucidate that point because of ideological superstructure. Their own media, they are able to catapult, characterize badly, and if it's them, no one is just going to promote that thing. And we know Honorable Hussain's husband was a national organizer of National Party, so she's part of the system in any way. So she won't see anything good with this current government. We are able to criticize thoroughly as honorable members said. We are allowed. And Honorable MEC's got a thick skin. She's a seasoned leader. She has been around enough. You don't even have to patronize her before you start your debate. Just name and everything that you think must be characterized and which should be sorted. And this is how we want to accept the issue of the debate. Honorable Chairperson, we are also going to advance some of the things, because if someone is going to change this process, Honorable MEC Nkonyen, it is going to be you. You have already started this badly. No one ever thought that the old CFO, Wayne Evans, was not going to be in this debate when we met. We lambasted a lot of things that has been happening in the department. The portfolio committee fought, and you listened to us. And it is amongst those principles that we are saying that it has not yet been achieved. There are things. Let us start on the issue of filling of vacant posts. Unfortunately, Honorable MEC and MECs present in this house, MEC Dube Ncube mentioned that whenever she received the post, she just signed instantly. We are going to hold you up to that when we are dealing with the vacant post. It is concerning that the Department of Transport has not been able to fill the vacant post for the past couple of years. The department has a number of vacant positions starting from junior levels up to management level. This has compromised service delivery in a sense that underperformance in most of the programs has been recorded. Currently, the department is faced with challenges of high staff turnover and vacancy rates in key components: financial services, police, planning, function, SMS, HRM, will definitely impact on our capacity to deliver service optimally. Failure to fulfilling a vacant post has also been raised by Auditor General as the audit query. Department of Transport has had this problem of being unable to conduct recruitment processes for suitable qualified employees, and this has compromised the expenditure on the compensation of employees, as most of these are funded vacant posts. The inability of the department to fill vacant posts against the backdrop of high unemployment rate is concerning Honorable MEC to you, Honorable Chairperson. According to Quarter Labour Force Survey compiled by Statistics South Africa, the result of the Quarter Labour Force Survey for the fourth quarter in 2021 showed that number of employed persons increased by 262,000 to 14.5 million, and the number of unemployed persons also increased by 278,000 to 7.9 million in the fourth quarter of 2021 compared to the third quarter. Or if all these things are not addressed, it means we are not going to address the imbalances of the past, and that an assignment that is also the accounting officer must just take into effect, because all these statistics, we've just provided them. It is the one that is not going to make us to deliver. You need to empower, you need to capacitate, you need to ensure that you are thorough when it comes to that, so that the department will be able to address those issues. We remain hopeful, Honorable Chairperson, that the initiative that has been made by Honorable MEC Nkonyen to align departmental service delivery model, SDM and organizational structure to the district development model will ensure that the recruitment process for filling of vacant posts will be prioritized. So we want to commend you on your bold step that you have taken, Honorable MEC. Continue with the Transport Portfolio Committee will play its robust oversight role over the department until vacant posts are filled. Despite the shortage of technical skills, there is a progress in the construction of new road infrastructure that has been noted under the leadership of Honorable MEC Nkonyen. We're also just highlighting that fact. The impact of recent floods to transport infrastructure in the province has necessitated an urgent need for more qualified structural engineers. We would want to appeal and crave your indulgence, Honorable MEC, that you note the role of structural engineers going forward because of the global pattern and the changing weather patterns. So they will be a vital component in the departments. Just ensure that you take that into cognizance. They have collapsed due to heavy rain is taking place. It is for this reason that the issue of shortage of technical skills in the department is treated as a matter of urgency. Strong internal audit committee is needed urgently. The committee will have to work hard in implementing the corrective measures in the filling of vacant posts, as this has been raised as a requiring audit query by AG. Innovation is needed in attracting suitable qualified engineers and technicians, and this can assist in the construction of strong and reliable road infrastructure. Honorable MEC, you'll also be assisting going forward. There is a professional bodies within the engineering sector. They are still dominated by white males in particular. They are part and parcel of blocking the transformation. And your department will also come to assist when it comes to that. Please challenge them. Your character allows you that you'll be able to challenge them. It is another thing because we've got a lot of engineers. For you to be recognized and get the issue of PR in South Africa, you must undergo that process. On the issue of irregular expenditure, Transport Portfolio Committee has been trying to address the issue of irregular expenditure, which has been existing over the years, and this has amounted to billions of rands, and we have spoken about it, Honorable MEC, in the past. It has been accumulative. Unfortunately, we must be cognizant that each time there is a hearing in finance and SCOPA, there is a promise that you want to condemn this concept or this budget, but nothing has yet came into the force. So it must be addressed in that. Otherwise, it will keep on perspiring and showing a bad reflection on your name. This measure was raised by AG, as we've already mentioned, in 1920. Transport Department had incurred irregular expenditure amounting to 17 billion of irregular expenditure. I've already highlighted that. Following the AG findings, Transport was not able to resolve their qualification on accrued departmental revenue, as adequate reviews were not undertaken to ensure that all revenues was included in the accounting records. Furthermore, they were qualified on expenditure due to poor controls, as payments were made for goods and services before confirming that they were actually received. AG found that Department of Transport has a poor track record in dealing with irregular expenditure and ensuring accountability. It is concerning that investigations into irregular expenditure is slow and that effective and appropriate disciplinary steps were not taken against some officials who permitted irregular expenditure. However, we must also note, Honorable MEC, that you have started a process, and we are glad that as a portfolio committee we could just see tangible effect. Furthermore, increased trends by leadership in using incorrect, inappropriate technical justifications to resolve audit issues, majorities as a result of not following proper bidding processes for contract extensions, and deviations being approved when it was practical to invite competitive bids, as well as making use of expired contracts. The points of the internal deficiencies in establishing strong internal control when it comes to expenditure supply chain management must ensure that all correct legislative procurement process are followed at all times. Transport Portfolio Committees need to come up the intensive follow-up mechanism on the implementation of AG recommendations going forward. This will further require effective risk management skills and internal audit committee aim at proving early detection of irregular expenditure. In the presentation of the chairperson that was raised by MEC, and we are glad that she is able to highlight it, although MEC, because of fiduciary duties, couldn't say which of these companies are being dominant when it comes to Sanral. There is one singular company called Rubex. It is unfair. In fact, it's got a book value of more than 11 billion with Sanral. And for us, we think it is abnormal that one company will dominate at the expense of others. We do have 8CE, 9CE emerging African companies. We do have emerging companies that have 5, 6 that can partner going forwards. If this thing is not challenged by us, nobody's going to do it. We're glad, Honorable MEC, you also see the discrepancy or imbalance when it comes to that. We are challenging that going forward. Let us also address those issues. We thought, Honorable MEC, because of this thing of Concord, that the issue of PPFA would be advanced thoroughly. And earlier on, we were also anticipating that MEC Treasurer and Dube Ncube is also going to highlight, because unfortunately there was just a circular. Other departments might claim at the end that we did not spend the money because of this new circular, which was demanding that we don't spend. At this point in time, if you can just give us a clarity, because we've got our full support, we cannot have any act promulgated by the system that is going to supersede the Constitution. We know Constitution 217 does allow that you must prioritize set aside and all those things. But however, at this point in time, certain NGOs, because at this point in time, if we are not careful, honorable members, we will be ruled by NGOs. It could be AfriForum, it could be those NGOs. Each time they go to court, we also need progressive NGO to go and challenge or become the friends of the court. Other than that, we're not just going to rule this country as a ruling party. So we must just juxtapose around that. Let us also, in light of concern listed above, namely filling of posts, irregular expenditure and expenditure, the department must address these concerns as they have negative bearing in improving the life of KZN citizens. We all know that ANC has been advocating for massive employment of previous disadvantaged groups. Youth employment is one of the challenges that is faced in our country. Youth employment initiatives, YISA Job Creation Network for the Youth in South Africa was created in order to deal head-on with this challenge. There is also the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative, which has been aimed at recruiting young people for a whole range of jobs working at the local schools. These are amongst other interventions available to date thousands of youth have been employed through these initiatives. This is evident on how much effort the ANC government is investing in addressing the scourge of triple challenges. Government officials who also commit irregular expenditure must be disciplined internally, and there is sufficient evidence of corruption in such cases must be referred to the National Prosecution Authority for criminal charges. Internal discipline processes must be completed on time, and appropriate consequence management must be instituted. We must also highlight that we agree with the sentiments raised by Honorable Motley. However, it's not like taking into cognizance the issue of backlog. There is already a backlog, and the issue of floods is going to add already on top of what has been appropriated by Honorable MEC. We want to support you, categorical MEC, whenever you are doing a great job. But as a portfolio committee, we stand firm each time that on an outcome-based strategy that has been developed through some in our legislature, we are going to ensure that the issue of accountability is required at all material time. At this point in time, the Department of Transport is seen as a pillar and a vein, in particular in the developmental parties of KwaZulu-Natal. So if this department is not doing well, almost all other development departments are not going to do well, and economy is not going to blossom, and people are going to blame us, and by the time we go to the communities, they will be rebelling against us. So let us make sure that this 12.4 billion will be utilized. Each and every cent must be spent before the financial year. We want to thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair of Chairs, S.A. Duma. Then now we are going to afford an opportunity for response by the MEC for Transport, Community Safety and Liaison, Honorable Ping Onyeni, for 15 minutes.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Indeed, let me start off by expressing my sincerest gratitude to the African National Congress for having deployed me to this Department of Transport. I am learning a lot, honorable members. You know, when you are deployed in a sector that you have never been exposed to, you start by trying to understand the nomenclature that is utilized in that particular sector. So I feel really empowered. I have listened to the presentation, the report that was presented by Honorable Mjali. Indeed, we appreciate all the concerns that have been raised through the report. As the department, what is good about it is that the administrative head is here, Mr. Mbele, who is the HOD, and the acting CFO and other officials, senior managers are also here. You know, you are raising issues that I'm also raising as I'm playing my oversight role in that department. Sometimes they know that I do not end up by raising issues with them, but I practically, you know, participate in ensuring that we find solutions to the challenges that we are facing as the department. Indeed, we need to really pay attention to all the negativities that have been highlighted through various debates. In other words, I wish to say we accept all criticisms because most of them are constructive. You criticize, you also provide solutions. That is what we really appreciate. We will, I am still committing even now that we will try by all means to spend all the budget that has been allocated to us. We'll try by all means. I was reminding the HOD the other day that they are supposed to submit and also present the financial reports on monthly basis to the MEC. On monthly basis. That is how the MEC will be able to play the oversight role over how are they spending the budget. So I will be monitoring that those reports are received by myself so that I may also scrutinize. You know, sometimes you become shocked as a politician, as the political head of the department, when you are told that, hey, we had to send back some allocated budget to the national fiscus. Yet sometimes they don't even inform you about it. You just learn about it when such a thing has already happened. And the question that always arises is, where were you as the political head? Because you would have played your oversight role on how the budget is spent by the administration. So I will be paying attention on how the budget is spent, and of course, no money should be sent back. I am insisting on that. Even the 47 million rands that has been mentioned, the truth of the matter is that they looked at how we have been spending during Q1 and Q2. And the National Department of Transport, as we are playing this concurrent function, was not happy about our pace regarding expenditure. And they said, we would rather not allocate this amount of money to you and reallocate it to other provinces. It's not like there was money allocated to us and then it was taken back. It was not allocated at all. That amount of money. Kusho ukuthi babethe nje sicabanga unikeza imali engaka kulonyaka. Kodwa manje hayi masibuka ipace yenu yokusebenza sengathi anizokwazi ukuthi nisebenzise. Iqiniso ke bahlonishwa eyokuthi lento yalama framework contracts noma ama panels of service providers islimazile kakhulu when we discovered that there were a number of irregularities. Even from the very onset, there were a number of irregularities. When you have actually advertised and you expect people to come over and submit their tender documents, the expectation by law is that you must publish a register of all those potential service providers who had actually demonstrated their interest on participating in whatever program. That is not what the department did because of incapacity issues. That did not happen. That is the first irregularity that actually happened. And secondly, we were, when these tenders were advertised, there were a number of them. Yet the department knew it very well that they didn't have that adequate capacity, especially in the branch, the SCM branch in particular. But they continued, advertising. This time around, as we had now cancelled that entire activity, we have decided that there will be, we will be staggering the advertisements of these tenders that are still going, so that we give them time, to deal with panel number 1 and then followed by 2, perhaps 2 panels at a time, but we will be looking at how then we will be fast tracking that process. But at the same time, one of the priorities of this 6th administration is that we must build the capacity of the state. That is what I am trying to instill in the minds of the officials, that we must build the capacity of the state. We cannot continuously focus or depend on the private sector to implement our project. But of course, we know very well that the Department of Transport is one department that is actually stimulating the economy in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Yet, hence we are saying, as much as we'll be implementing some of the programs like grading or graveling, we're dealing with gravel roads or rural roads in the province. But companies, service providers will still get opportunities to participate, because we cannot fail the private sector, especially those who have now identified the department as a department that is providing some way of them of living, and benefiting from the economy that is stimulated through this department. So we will continuously do that. We are even engaging the, as I indicated earlier on, we are engaging the business fora. There are a number of them in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We engaged them. We said, you know what, you cannot continuously disrupt the implementation of the programs. Let us sit down, so that if you have any challenges that you think are impacting on you, let's sit down and talk about every challenge that we might be facing. And then we agreed that they are a very crucial stakeholder. We must continue to engage as and when it becomes necessary. And there is a proposed memorandum of understanding that is supposed to be entered into between the forum, the various fora, business fora, and government, so that the transformation policies of each and every department should be known and understood, by all that are participating in the economy of this province. But we are still engaging, because everybody needs to understand the content of the within this context, the contents of the memorandum. So it has not been signed off yet, because we are still dealing with it. Regarding the RTI poor infrastructure, the poor conditions of the RTI infrastructure, yes, I fully agree. The stations are dilapidating. Some of them are already dilapidated. So hence I said we are doing something about that, especially that of Wanongoma Nase Greytown, honorable members. Iyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo i-report leyo bengizama ukuthi nje ngishwankathele. Honorable Fraser, yes, most of our roads have collapsed, most of our low-lying bridges have collapsed, and we are expected as the department to actually participate in ensuring that we refurbish and revamp those dilapidated, those poor road networks that have actually dilapidated. We are making sure that we are assembling teams that will be focusing on that. In the next few weeks, you will be seeing us moving. We're gonna be very visible throughout the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and ensuring that we are implementing the projects as per the expectation of everybody. In fact, we have even complained to the Honorable Premier that, sizama ukuthi sibonakale siya kubantu sesinciphisile nje kakhulu imihlangano ngoba khona isikhathi especially during the period of flooding la besihlangana khona on daily basis, you know, and then we're asking ourselves, then when do we go out? Savumelana ukuthi hayi ake sibonakale sisebenza ke shuthi nizosibona nje bahlonishwa, and we'll inform you when we come where your constituency offices are, that we will be around that area, so that perhaps if you want to join us, you may actually join us, nizobamba sibambe sonke. Program SANDF and National Department of Public Works, actually it is us as the department, Provincial Department of Transport, who is allocating funding. Then they come with their expertise. And then we make sure that the program also creates job opportunities for the local communities around the area where these Bailey bridges are constructed. Ngiyafisa ukudlula kule yamajezi barriers because of time constraints. The SIU is still in the process of investigating whether there was any corrupt activity that happened there. We have no way of pushing or putting pressure on the SIU because they take their time. If they take their time, there's nothing that we can do, but we are participating in whatever. If they need information, we give out information to them. But having said that, the communities around that area are really appreciative of that intervention that happened. Ngoba kwake kwathi unqamuka kancane untshontsha weimoto kule cross border crime. At least there is some positivity that happened through the implementation of that program. Ukuthi ke the amount that was allocated and utilized mhlamba ihambanga kahle, we're gonna hear from the SIU when they present their report after having investigated that matter. So I have no comment there except to say let us all wait for the finalization of the investigation that is conducted by the SIU. Honorable Moodley, you have raised a number of issues. Most of them are the issues that you are raising even in the meetings of the portfolio committee. We are dealing with most of the issues that you have already raised. And Honorable Hussein, I think you were just bashing the African National Congress and the leadership of the African National Congress. Of course, you have all the right to do that, but Honorable Duma has adequately responded to you. You are saying you have some information that there are members of the ANC that participated in the looting. It simply means that we'll have to send detectives to you so that you may tell us who those ANC members are. Yeah, because if you don't do that, it simply means that you are also a companion to that kind of a crime. So you will receive a knock on your door. Siyafisa ukwazi impela ukuthi obanda bokhuluma ngabo ngoba thina asibazi baziwa wena. Siyabonga kakhulu to all members participated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable MEC. Thank you so much. Before indlu iguqe, ngifisa uku-indicator ukuthi ngenze nje isimemezelo sokuthi i-arrangement yethu yakusasa izohluka. Ngeke ifane namhlanje. Tomorrow we're having 2 streams. Kukhona ama-votes azokuba la e-chamber, then amanye abe sengcuce. Public Works, no agriculture. Public Works will be at 9 to 11:30. Agriculture and Rural Development will be from 1 to 15:45. Bazoba la e-chamber. Bese kuthi uvote 13 and 5 social development, no education, babe sengcuce. I thought kubalekile ukuthi si memezele and nama links azohamba kanjalo, those that are linked through the teams bazothola ukuthi where they are linked. Ngifisa ke ukubonga kakhulu i-participation. Thank you, honorable members. We have now come to the end of the debate for vote